Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am literally so thrilled you're here today because we are going to look at something that is fundamentally going to change the way you speak and understand English. We're talking about the simple present tense. Now, I know the word tense can instantly make some of us think of boring, dusty grammar rule books, but I want you to throw that idea right out the window. Think of the simple present tense not as a rule book, but as the literal engine of everyday English communication. It is the beating heart of how we talk about our lives, our habits, and the world around us. So, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the engine of everyday English, then move on to building your sentences, tackle those tricky verb rules, spot the signal words, and finally, we'll practice together. All right, section 1, the engine of everyday English. So, what actually is the simple present tense? Well, it's a verb form we use to express general facts, habitual actions, permanent states, and scheduled events. The crucial takeaway here is that this tense is our absolute go-to tool for describing reality exactly as it exists, right now, regularly, and reliably. We're not talking about yesterday or tomorrow. This is the solid, grounded reality of everyday life. It's pretty wild when you think about it, because these four categories basically cover almost everything we do. Think about habitual actions, the stuff we do on repeat, right? Like, she goes to the gym every morning. Then you've got general truths. These are the undisputed facts of the universe, like the sun rises in the east. Moving on, we have permanent states, like where you permanently live. She lives in Yogyakarta. And lastly, scheduled events. Even if it's technically happening in the future, if it's on a fixed schedule, we use the simple present. For example, the train departs at 0800 tomorrow. Moving right along to section 2, building your sentences. Okay, let's play mechanic for a second. We're going to look closely at how the core gears of a sentence, the subject, the verb, and the complement, interlock to create totally smooth communication. Now, before we get into the actual formulas, you absolutely have to grasp this vital split in subjects. I seriously can't stress this enough. This is the biggest stumbling block for pretty much anyone learning the mechanics of this tense. In English, subjects are split into two teams. Team 1 is I, you, we, they, and they just get the base verb, pure V1. Team 2 is he, she, it, and, well, these subjects are a bit more demanding. They actually require an S or an ES tacked onto the end of the verb. Definitely lock that rule into your memory. This really brilliantly illustrates just how straightforward a positive sentence can be when you plug the right subject into the base or modified verb form. Just think of it like plugging numbers into a simple math formula. If your subject is I, you literally just drop in the base verb study, so I study English every day. But if your subject is she, you've got to apply that crucial rule we just talked about and add the ES, making it she teaches at a university. But hey, what happens when we want to say no? Notice how introducing the auxiliary words do or does completely changes the game here. For I, you, we, they, we use do not or don't. And for he, she, it, we use does not or doesn't. Now, here is the absolute magic trick. That auxiliary word takes all the heavy lifting off the main verb. The main verb gets to return completely to its base form, even for he, she, or it. That's exactly why we say he doesn't like coffee, and not likes. The does literally swallowed the S. And you know what? Asking questions is just as easy. All you have to do is take that auxiliary do or does and flip it to the very front of the sentence. Boom! Instantly, you've built a perfect question. Do you speak English? Or does she know the answer? And again, notice the main verbs there, speak and know, they stay in their pure base form because do and does are up front doing all the hard work. All right, on to section 3, the tricky verb rules. So now that we have the formulas down, and we know that he, she, and it require an S or an ES on positive verbs, it's time to tackle the specific spelling rules. Honestly, memorizing this grid acts like a total cheat sheet for spelling. It prevents the most common written mistakes, even in university-level English. Most verbs just take a standard S, like works or plays. But if the verb ends in S, SS, SH, CH, X, or O, you have to add ES, like teach becoming teaches. And definitely pay close attention to the bottom two conditions. If a verb ends in a consonant plus Y, the Y actually transforms into IES, like studies. But if it's a vowel plus Y, just slap an S on it, like plays. Let's dive into section 4, spotting the signal words. Let's talk about what I like to call the secret weapons of English grammar. If the verbs and subjects are the gears of the engine, well, the signal words are the dashboard lights telling you exactly what's going on. These words are basically cheat codes for your brain. The moment you hear frequency words like always or usually, or a numeric frequency like twice a week, your brain should instantly lock into the simple present tense. Why? Because these words absolutely scream routine and habit. When you see, she always arrives on time, or he visits his parents twice a month, those signal words are massive neon signs confirming you're using the right tense.
And finally, Section 5, let's practice together. Okay, it's time to step out of the mechanics garage and actually put all this newfound knowledge to the test with a quick, interactive game. I'll give you a problem, you think of the answer, and then we'll reveal the solution together. Here's your first challenge. Fill in the blank using the verb boil. Water blank at 100 degrees Celsius. Think about what we just learned. Is this a scheduled event? A general truth? Look at the subject, water. What pronoun does that replace? And based on that, what exactly happens to our verb?
Did you guess it? The correct answer is boils. Because water is an it, a singular uncountable noun, and boiling at 100 degrees is a universal, undisputed scientific fact, we are definitely dealing with a general truth. So we just apply our rule for it and add the S to make boils. Awesome job if you got that one right. Let's step it up a notch and try transforming a sentence. I want you to change this positive sentence into a negative form. He speaks 3 languages. Remember our formula for negatives? What auxiliary verb do we use for he? And what on earth happens to that main verb, speaks, when the negative auxiliary enters the picture? All right, the answer is he doesn't speak 3 languages. And this brilliantly illustrates how the S drops entirely from speaks the exact moment doesn't is added to the sentence. Doesn't did all the heavy lifting for us, so speak gets to just relax in its base form. Okay, one more quick test to make sure you've truly mastered these mechanics. How do we turn this weekend habit into a question? Try changing "they play basketball on weekends" into an interrogative sentence. Take a look at your subject, they. Which auxiliary word we need for that, and where exactly does it go? The answer is, do they play basketball on weekends? You simply slide that do right to the very front of the sentence, leave the rest exactly as it is, pop a question mark on the end, and you are totally good to go. To truly make this the engine of your everyday English communication, I'm leaving you with a little challenge right now. What are 5 things you do every single day? Try describing them using the formulas we just mastered, and challenge yourself to use at least 2 different signal words, like always or every morning. Once you get comfortable with this engine, there is seriously no limit to where your fluency can take you. So what will be the next piece of the English puzzle you conquer? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.